Nate Bjorkgren has been fired as the Indiana Pacers head coach, only 1 year into the job, a first-time head coach after being a coach in the G League for the Toronto Raptors and an assistant behind Nick Nurse for several years, who was regarded as a fairly good and one of the best assistants in the league by many teams, and was interviewed for several positions and eventually fell with the Pacers. But maybe he just doesn't have it as an NBA coach. He struggled to keep hold of the locker room and manage the players, which is one of the key jobs as a head coach. You don't just need the basketball knowledge, you also need the people skills and the leadership skills that you don't require as much as an assistant coach. You can focus a bit more on the basketball and have individual relationships with players that you can focus on. But as a head coach, it's a bit of a different dynamic, and maybe that fit wasn't best for him. But within this video, we are going to talk about what the future for the Indiana Pacers is. We could talk about what coach they're going to bring in and yada yada. But I think we're going to take this time to talk about what lies ahead for the Indiana Pacers. What is their future? What do they have? What are they going to do? And what moves could they be doing this summer as they hope to rebuild and restructure this team into a slightly more competitive roster after a disappointing season on the court and also due to injuries this season? That being said, if you guys like NBA content like this, consider subscribing. I'll be giving you, as in this video, up-to-the-date updates on all of the NBA news throughout the offseason, giving you all my thoughts, doing what's next videos and season previews and free agency, all that good stuff. And so if that is something that you're interested in, then this is a great place to be. With that being said, let's get right into it. And so here we are. This is what we're looking at for the Indiana Pacers moving forward from a contractual standpoint. They do have some decisions to make this summer regarding who they are going to bring back. Not a ton. Most of them are a year or two down the road. But Doug McDermott, who did have his best season of his NBA career this season, in my opinion, with the Pacers, really found his scoring ability a lot better, especially not just off of catch and shoot, but more off the dribble, off the turn, a bit more in the mid-range. And so he's definitely someone that they'll have to consider if they want to lock up long-term, as well as TJ McConnell, who was a very valuable backup point guard for them this year. The best creator on the team for them, in my opinion. Malcolm Brogdon isn't a prototypical point guard. So having TJ McConnell's defense and his creativity was very valuable to this team this season. Outside of that, Evan Sumner is on a team option, which I'm sure they'll pick up at only $2.3 million. And then O'Shea Brissett's still there on a nice G deal. He played very well down the stretch. But then they have some decisions to make about the top end of this group. Do they want to keep Jeremy Lamb, Warren, LeVert, Sabonis, Turner, Brogdon? That's where the question marks are, because this group, not as its collective has been together for a couple of years now, because of course LeVert was just added to the team. T.J. Warren was on the team last year and now was injured this year. But the core guys of Sabonis, Turner, and Brogdon that have been here this whole time, and then Oladipo, of course, was there before and then was injured. But this team hasn't been anything crazy. They've been a good Eastern Conference team. Don't get me wrong, they haven't been terrible. But they definitely haven't been anything insane or competing for a berth in the NBA Finals with this group. Probably not even realistically competing for a conference finals trip. They're more of a first-round team and get bounced, and that's kind of been what's been happening to this team ever since Paul George left the team, realistically. And I think that's why we've seen some rumors floating around that there could be some moves within Indiana. We could see someone like Brogdon or Turner or Sabonis get moved, and even someone like the likes of T.J. Warren could be moved as they try to focus around a rebuild around Caris LeVert and some other different retooling. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a rebuild for Indiana this summer, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a retool. I think Miles Turner is very valuable. If I was them, I would like to keep him. I think he's a very valuable center. I think the $18 million might be a little bit of an overpay for him, but he's a very good center. He can space the floor. His rim protection is obviously amongst the bench, best in the league. And if he can stay healthy, he has to be considered for Defensive Player of the Year pretty much every season. Brogdon needs to either have a true point guard alongside him, in my opinion, in this team, or needs to be moved, because he's not a prototypical point guard, in my opinion. I think he can play that position and he's fine, but he's not a great creator. He's not someone who's getting 6, 7, 8 assists a night. This is not his game. He's a scorer much more than a playmaker. I think that's something for the Pacers to consider this summer, as well as the fact that Sabonis is a great player. I love Sabonis. I love watching Sabonis. None of what I'm about to say is shade at Sabonis, because I think Sabonis is a great player. He's one of my favorite players in the league, but he sucks defensively. He really does, especially at the center position. Now, he doesn't necessarily play there a lot for this team, but his lack of mobility on defense also makes him terrible at the 4. And I think that's something that they need to consider if they can retool from him, because he doesn't space the floor for you on offense. He's not great on defense. He is a very good player, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the things that you want in the modern-day NBA, he does not offer. And I question how much of that is then going to translate to winning. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Domantas Sabonis, an all-star, get moved this summer. He may be one of the hot commodities on the trade market. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get traded. And I think, if anything, he's probably the least likely guy on the roster to get traded, which scares me. Because if Miles Turner does get traded and Sabonis becomes their starting center, Indiana's doomed, in my opinion. They're doomed. Because Sabonis at the 5, as we saw in the play-in games, I was about to say playoffs, but play-in games, it doesn't work. Indiana just get torched inside and they have no rim protection whatsoever. And you need rim protection in this league. You do. There's too many good centers in the league. There's too many guards that are too good at getting to the basket. You need someone who can protect the rim for you and give good defense in that way. And Sabonis just cannot do that. And so if I'm an Indiana fan right now, I would expect some moves this offseason, and I would encourage some moves this offseason. I just hope they make the right ones, because if they make the wrong ones and they start building around the wrong pieces, this could be a long attempt at retooling the Indiana Pacers moving forward through the next few seasons. But they're starting the retool, they're starting the change within the organization with Nate Bjorkgren being fired. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section regarding this Indiana Pacers roster. Do you think Bjorkgren should have been fired? Do you think the Pacers should make any moves this summer? And if so, what players could you see leaving or would you want to leave? But yeah, I think the Nate Bjorkgren firing is justified, although it is only 1 year. It's different if the team just was underperforming because of basketball reasons. But if you're losing the locker room, probably just not meant to be a head coach, or at least not at this point in time in his career. I have no doubt of his basketball knowledge. He did a great job in Toronto. But maybe a head coaching position isn't the right fit for him. See what lies ahead for him. I'm sure he'll go be an assistant coach somewhere else. And we'll see what the Pacers do this summer. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.